What's up, random people out there on the internet? This is Black Phillip here with another Game of Thrones theory and impressions video. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about Season 8, Episode 4, some of the impressions I took away from it, and some of the theories I have about the end game of Game of Thrones. But before I do that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more about Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, the new Amazon show coming out, or, just other things having to do with movies and TV. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and if you like this video, hit that like. Let's get right into it. Before I wanted to talk about actual Game of Thrones lore and TV show stuff, I want to show you this video. Apparently Grey Worm is a recording artist, and he just dropped this one song called Time in a Tree. And it's not my clip. It's not mine, of course. So I just wanted to show it to you. Just got to change the settings really quick. And 1 second. I'm obviously very new to YouTube, but yeah, here we go.
What they say, I get wound up from the ground up, and I don't know why. Turn the sound up, drown the noise out, swallow, don't cry. Got an anxious heart and it's still made, can't take paper or heartbreak. Did Billy Joel have self-esteem? Maybe Vienna wouldn't wait for me.
I just want time in a tree. I need a place just for me, somewhere that I can be free. Keep the faith and just be what you be.
Do you ever feel like you could live a real life like everybody else in the real world? You could be a real...
That sounds so awesome. All right, let's see. Okay. So yeah, that is, let's see. Oh, damn it. Okay, there we go. So that is Rayleigh Ritchie, and he plays Grey Worm on Game of Thrones. So I really like that song, so I kind of just wanted to share it with you people out there. Go ahead and watch that song, on his channel, because it's obviously his video. I just think it's really awesome. Basically, what do I think about the last episode? This season has been super disappointing for so many reasons. Episode 3 was just, the shots were amazing. The writing was terrible. So it was good and bad. I didn't like it very much. I think I heard some people before saying that this battle scene was going to be comparable with Helm's Deep from the Lord of the Rings, from the Two Towers. And it just wasn't. It's not even... Like, the Two Towers was made, in the mid-2000s? This is being made in 2018, 2019. Yeah, they have some problems on the production end. People couldn't see it. Whatever. I talk a lot about this in my last video. I basically think that Game of Thrones is, pretty much a soap opera with dragons now. So that's pretty much what I feel. I still like it. I'll still watch it and be entertained by it. I read all the books, and I really, really want George R. R. Martin to release more books, that deviate from the story, the timeline in the shows. But anyway, episode 4 was just full of plot holes. It was like the writers think that we're dumb, right? So, spoiler alert, Dany loses a dragon, right? Euron and Cersei have apparently developed surface-to-air missiles that can shoot over a mile from behind a mountain on rough water, I guess, on a ship, and hit a moving target that's a dragon going, 100 miles an hour. It's basically like shooting a plane out of the sky, in medieval times. It didn't make any sense. Why kill a dragon at this point, especially with the ballistas? It would have been so much cooler if Euron used his Valyrian dragon horn that he has in the books in the meeting that takes place with the great, all the Ironborn. I think it's called the I don't know. It's the council where they all the captains come together and figure out who's going to be their who's going to be the king of the Ironborn. And Euron shows up in the books, and he has a Valyrian horn that one of his crew members, blows through, and his entire body is cooked. Right, so he's just the crew member is dead, and it's ridiculous. And in the books, it just leaves off right there. But I think that horn has the ability to control dragons. So I don't know why they couldn't have, included that in the show, especially with their budget. It would have been really cool. It would have made way more sense than surface-to-air missiles. So anyway, moving on from that topic, I would like to propose my theory for who wins the Game of Thrones. So I think that Varys is going to win the Game of Thrones, and I'll explain why. So Varys, for a long time, has been my favorite character, not only in the TV shows, but in the books. So Varys is a multi-layered, very deep and complex character. His story begins in Essos. Varys was a low-level slave. He's a slave, right, in Essos. And his master sold him to a sorcerer, to a red priest, who basically castrated him and used his balls, dick and balls, I think, whatever, in a ritual. So that's why people always make jokes. That's why he's the eunuch, and that's why Tyrion always goads, him, and makes fun of Varys for, not having, like a penis, whatever. So Varys, that's where he starts. So he's always had he always mistrusts magic, dragons. He's always been mistrustful of red priests, for instance. Another thing about Varys is that he remembers where he came from. He identifies more with the people of Westeros, with the common folk. And that's always in the back of his mind when he's making decisions or when he's trying to influence the people that he serves. So we're first introduced to Varys as a member of the small council for Robert Baratheon. And he basically is the council's spy master. He has contacts throughout Essos, throughout all of Westeros that report back to him. So he's kind of like the spy master, and he has eyes and ears everywhere. So that's just totally badass. I always liked Varys just because of that. They call him the Spider. He has a bunch of kids that run around King's Landing and the Red Keep, and they report back to him everything that they hear. And apparently, it's definitely confirmed that there are these little hallways going through the Red Keep. It's how Tyrion escapes after he kills Tywin, before he escapes to Essos. So Varys has this really complex, like web of informers, and he always knows what's going on, and he can shift the tide of the tides and influence events, and he's always a couple steps ahead. They in the show, in episode 3, Varys was kind of just hanging out in the crypts. He wasn't really doing that much. We do see in one shot him protecting the kids. So faced with death, Varys is super courageous. He gathers all the weakest and the most vulnerable people around him, and he's like, all right, I'm going to protect you, or at least try to. So we know that he's a spy master, and he's probably been behind a couple assassinations, but he's good at heart. So he always wants to protect the common people of Westeros. So I really like that about Varys. I like his motivation for doing things, and this ties into his mistrust of Daenerys. So he served a Targaryen before. He served the Mad King, and he saw what the Mad King and the Targaryens did to the people of King's Landing and to the people outside in the rest of Westeros. So he has a suspicion that Daenerys is still sick or might develop some sort of mental illness later in life. He probably has that same mistrust for Jon Snow, despite Jon Snow being heroic. Jon Snow has all the qualities and characteristics of like the righteous king archetype. Despite Jon Snow being incredibly boring in the last couple episodes, not really doing that much. He didn't even, do anything with the Night King. It was Arya who killed the Night King. So why bring Jon Snow back from the dead if he's not going to do anything? That's besides the point. So I think that Varys is going to win the Game of Thrones and not sit on the Iron Throne. I think he'll either reform the system completely, he might even melt down the Iron Throne, or, and this seems most likely, is that he will install a puppet ruler that he holds the strings to. So he'll be the puppet master, and he'll be able to influence that person. It could be someone as harmless as like Podrick Payne, or, you know, just some other person. I don't know. I feel like it would be a main character. That's the part I'm unsure of, who he's going to put on the throne. Podrick is the most harmless, kind of like dim-witted person in the cast of main characters at this time. So who Varys puts on the throne is unclear. So if you out there have any ideas, write them down in the comments. I would love to start a dialogue or a chat. And I have plans in the future of doing like live chats, maybe before or during these episodes. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, so tell me what you think of this theory. I think Varys is going to go all the way. I like his character a lot. In the back of my mind, I'm not sure if the writers, I mean, I don't want to say they're not dumb. Obviously, they're, you know, they are at the helm of this, you know, extremely huge show with all these different moving parts. And I think it's just an overwhelming project. But before I go, I actually want to show this scene. And this is kind of like where I got this idea from. So here we go.
The war, the murder, the misery.
Switch my headphones.
All of it because Robert Baratheon loved someone who didn't love him back.
How many others know?
Including us. 8.
Well, then it's not a secret
Oh,
anymore.
God.
It's information. If a handful of people know now, hundreds will know soon. Then what happens?
She loses the North. She loses the Vale. Sansa will make sure of that.
No, it's worse than that. He has the better claim to the throne.
He doesn't want the throne.
I'm not sure it matters what he wants. The fact is, people are drawn to him. Wildlings, Northmen. He's a war hero.
He loves our queen. And she loves him. If we marry them, they could rule together.
She's his aunt.
I never stopped a Targaryen before.
No, but John grew up in Winterfell. Is marrying your Aunt common in the north? You know our queen better than I do. Do you think she wants to share the throne? She does not like to have her authority questioned.
Something she has in common with every monarch who ever lived.
I worry about her state of mind.
We are advisors to the queen. Worrying about her state of mind is our job.
He's so boring now.
We still have to take King's Landing. Maybe Cersei will win and kill us all. That would solve our problems.
Okay, yeah. So that's the scene that I really liked from last week's episode, and it really was just an interesting piece of dialogue that really showed, you know, Varys' mistrust of Dany. So anyway, that was the scene, you know, that got me interested. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you think Varys is going to win the Game of Thrones, let me know. And if you disagree with me, let me know who you think is going to win, because I would love to respond to you and also make videos about you know, other theories having to do with Game of Thrones. All right, enjoy tonight's episode, and I'll see you next week.